Welcome to What Just Happened.
Hello, thanks for having me.
It's very nice to meet you. So let's talk about Coveo and all the changes that have happened in search. First, introduce yourself.
Absolutely. So my name's Simon. I'm the VP of Product at Coveo. So I manage the e-commerce side of the business. So Coveo is a search engine and it has multiple functions, one of them being e-commerce, B2C, B2B.
Obviously, generative AI is the big change, but you guys have been at it for 10 years. So I want to really talk about the past, the present, and the future. So let's look back. Then let's talk at the pivot point of generative AI, and let's talk about what that looks like going forward.
We have been at it for indeed several years, not necessarily generative AI, but large language model. We've been using them for mostly to do summarization of content. So what we call smart snippet excerpts. So really receiving results and making sure that we show just the relevant part of it. And obviously that expanded naturally to generative AI.
Are we able to even say what the future looks like? How can we predict? It was, from our standpoint, from the regular people, it was quite a shock to see the power of what was coming at us. And still almost every day we're like, wait, what? This is amazing. And search had really gotten, and still is, very sloggy. And we're anticipating a lot of really great things. So let's chat about that for a little bit.
Sure. It's been search overall has always been a bit conflictual because you have that idea of we'll let the algorithm decide what are the products that are returned and all. But at the same time, reality is we have these kind of business concerns as well that we have to respect. I would say that there's a lot of, even the merchandiser themselves, they need to look at what are the incentives. Are they looking at really making sure that the best product are in the front of their customer at all time? Or they want to make sure that they respect the demand from brand A or brand B, or even from their own team, from their own manager, to put some content at the top. So it's always, as a search vendor, we obviously deal with technology, but we also deal with these different incentives. I would say the future of AI itself is, yes, more powerful AI, more personalized, being able to handle at scale, but also how we as humans will make sure that we control this AI and also make it more and more transparent and making sure that it's well understood. So I would say, if the market is going anywhere, it's going to be a small step back at that kind of chat GPT, which is all knowing, and being a little bit more precise, as well as a little bit more open and transparent for the one that are actually managing it.
Can we talk about intent in a very basic layman's way for people listening and executives that want to learn more about it? So to me, intent is very emotional. It's the feeling of doing something. And more, there's semantic search. Okay, that's mechanics, but intent is starting to get over to the squishy wishy feeling side, which is scary and exciting. How is the technology accessing intent? Talk about generically how the industry does that, and then how Coveo fits into that.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, semantics, when we think about it, we think about words, right? So I understand that, a blanket or a carpet, has some sort of semblance. There's the two kind of be used in the same situation. A chair and a table will be used together. So we tend to understand words and how they relate to each other. And there's been quite a lot of investment into that kind of semantics based on words. And obviously it yields good results. Intent detection is really a level higher. And unfortunately, not a lot of providers are able to do it properly because it's quite expensive. Why? Because you need to really track the user. Obviously, I'll try to say that in a non-creepy way, if I could say, understand what the user is currently doing. And you need to be able to do something with that information. So the way that we do intent detection at Coveo, for example, is what we call product embeddings. So as we have these different shoppers that are interacting with products, mostly the only way that we can properly define intent is by looking at what you've done before, looking at past journeys, and understanding how products relate to each other. We position these products into a space where they understand each other, and then try to figure out what is the next step. So that's one way to detect intent, mostly through product navigation. There are other ways as well. Obviously, the language that you type, for example. Now with generative AI, we started to see these longer sentences. So people are looking for how to do things, or I'm new to skiing, where should I start? So with this, you get, a richer prompt that comes from the user. With this, we're able also to detect intent more into the words than into the actual like movement across the site. So these are different approaches to intent detection.
Will we see that become more refined over time? What's around the corner? What's the new shiny thing that the industry is preparing for?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's intent detection, but beyond product. So one thing that happens today is you have your kind of product discovery experience. So you go on the store and you actually look for product. And then if you're looking for guidance, let's say, again, I'm new to skiing. So usually today, the first thing that I'll do, I will not go to a retailer or anything like that. I will do a first search on Google, right? I'll search for, I'm new to skiing, what should I know? Or even I'll go to social media, go on a group about skiing or anything, and then I'll start to ask for advices or something like that. And sometimes you get some good results, but you get a disjointed experience. What we're trying to do more and more is to bring that expertise back into the product discovery journey. If I am a store that sells, again, skiing equipment, I probably have a lot of expertise around it. I probably know for a beginner what this beginner should look for, what they should buy. The brick and mortar experience has always been this. I walk into that specialty retailer and I can ask questions as much as looking at product. I can do both of these actions and they all happen in context. And when I get the advice, I usually am being directed towards the right products. So that's what AI will allow us to reproduce. So get on that retailer website, but if I ask skis for beginner, instead of just having pairs of skis that will show up, I'll have a generative experience that will tell me, here's what I should look for. And I'll have a few filters that will tell me, look for this category of this specific material for your skis, because it's easier for beginners. We want to fuse that kind of discovery experience with the guidance and also bring all the way back to service. So if I go back to the retailer and then type, I have a problem with my ski. So today what you have to do is actually go to a completely different experience, the support site, right? And then you'll have a FAQ, a chatbot, everything to prevent you from calling them. And then you'll try to search through this and maybe you'll have your answer. So why can't we bring this back even at the retailer? And then if I say, my ski seems broken, can you help me? Even if I'm in the product discovery experience, it can send me to the support in a kind of seamless way, understands that currently I'm not looking for product, I'm looking for help, and then send me to that support experience and start generating answers and providing me with content that is relevant. And the other way around as well, bringing back product if, for example, oh, your problem is that you didn't wax your ski properly. So that it's really creating that kind of seamless experience of walking into that kind of mom and pop shop where you had expertise, support, products all together. That's what AI will allow us to reproduce.
That sounds great. That sounds great. I like the mom and pop shops, but I think for an omni-channel experience, that's really an improvement from where we are in a big way. And it brings back that joy and textural aspect to shopping online that really isn't there. It's more holistic. And it's not a flat circle. It's actually like this swirly, like you're in the middle of a twister where you're really engulfed into the experience, the product. And like you said, the knowledge. A lot of online shopping now is like where you are there, but then you have to have a separate tab and check YouTube and check search and go out here to get information to go back here. And it's all coming together. What would be some of the last words you would want to leave to retailers to help them understand the confusion around all of this that's going on and the swirl?
There's nothing more expensive than bad search. That is the thing that I want to put out there. Don't cheap out on search. It is in the end it's the brain of your online experience. So just invest in it. It's really easy for a new startup, for a new company to bring a nice UI with a layer on top of ChatGPT and come up with something that looks really legit. It's something that we see all the time. Today, yes, I want a search that works, but in the future, I want to make sure that I'm almost AI proof in a way that new innovation that will come to AI will fit properly with my solution.
It's always been the brain, but now it's the brain with feelings. It's the brain with dressed well. It's providing so much more than just throwing back facts at you.
It is elegant.
Yes.
More and more. Yeah.
Yes. I want to thank you. This was really wonderful. There's a lot of confusion out there, and you really hit on it, where there are new players and evolving players. Everyone's converging and saying a lot of the same things, but I think in some ways, having history in this side of the business and building off of that, those roots run very deep. And I do want to thank you, Simon.
It's a pleasure.